Now we continue our journey in knowing Steinitz through the game number 2 of this book, this nice book written by Pritchett. And the game number 2 was played in London 1862 between Serafino Dubois, that strangely the name looked French, but the guy was Italian. So Serafino Dubois was born in 1817 and died in 1899, so he had a very long life. He was Italy's strongest player in the mid of the 19th century, and he was awarded, notice this London 1862 is a tournament. Also, if he loses this game against Steinitz and he loses badly, he still made 5th place, while Steinitz made 6th place, okay? So he got the prize of 5th place. Notice that it seems that Dubois and Steinitz had a match, and Steinitz won +5, -3 equal 1. So he won 5 games, lost 3 and drew 1. Dubois is white, and he starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5. At this point we understand that Dubois, that has a French name, is playing the Italian game, because he's Italian. In reality the Italian game was also called gioco piano. Castle, d6, d3, knight f6, and here there is bishop g5. Now I want to tell you one thing. In the gioco piano today they play c3, that's a fact, because they want this kind of maneuver. They try to make some kind of maneuver like this. It's a very, very interesting game. It's something you must learn to play before you go to play the London, right? And to tell you the truth, I was really happy to show you this game, because I also didn't understand many things that black could do and that I saw in this game. Generally I don't see them before, but what happened is that, like always, Windows is terrible. So it made an update and he lost the microphone. So I made some videos and there was no microphone. I don't know why. I mean, every time they make an update things get worse, instead of improving for the user. So I saw this game in the other video that unfortunately I had to erase, because it was like a movie from the 1920s without sound. And I realized that, wow, there was a kind of interesting way to attack white that I didn't know. And so before I return to play e4, I will definitely watch more games played in the end of the 1800, beginning of the 1900, because that will teach me how to play also the Italian game as white. Okay, so at this point Steinitz plays h6. h6, it's an interesting move, because it asks the question to white, what are you going to do? Are you going to get this and give black a tempo, because it will develop the queen? Are you going here, or are you going here? Well, it seems the best option is probably bishop h4, okay? But in any case you need to study the Italian opening and understand why. This is not an opening manual, so they shouldn't honestly delve into opening repertoire, okay? g5, bishop g3, and now there is a very interesting move by black, that it's not correct, but honestly it scares white. It's h5, boom. So why I say is not correct? Because probably there is a way to refute it right away, but it's not as you think. If you think that the refutation is knight takes g5, I'm sorry, you are wrong. And by the book you will discover why. Because luckily that line has been analyzed well. It's a very long line, and that's why I tell you, you need to buy the book or to study the Italian opening, because this is not something you want to discover over the board in a tournament game. Because that would show that you had a very bad preparation. Okay? Notice the Italian opening can be very sharp. This knight takes g5 is gonna be sharp. It's gonna be a ride where that queen is gonna fall probably, but there is an attack that is a checkmate attack, so you must be very, very careful. Why there is a checkmate attack? Because, for example, this is pinning this, and the action can be on this line, so be careful. Is not a joke. You're going to lose. You're going to lose if you don't play the right sequence of moves. That's why you also have to study the openings when you reach a certain level, when you want to play in tournaments today. Serafino Dubois played h4, which is obviously the correct move, not to take there. It continued with bishop g4, and finally we have c3. But as you can see, it's very important because it keeps v2 square, which means it prevents this knight to start a possible attack or remove a defender. Okay, so that's a good thing. Notice also that once more he is not gonna take, because some of these pawns are poisoned, but you can only discover it if you analyze, if you study the games. If you think to discover it over the board, not a good idea. Okay, not a good idea. And then of course you need to have memory, because you need to remember all this amount of information that you studied. How did black continue? Well, honestly, to tell you the truth, once you saw h6 and g5, you already knew that black is not going to castle on the king side, and so obviously black continues with queen d7 because he wants to castle queen side and make this rook join the attack. And now there is a mistake, a move that honestly seems totally playable, totally correct, and is not. Now, one thing that you should do instead at that point is to find the right move for white. Right move, as you can notice, we are at move 11, this side has not been touched, probably it makes sense, right? Instead of fighting for the center, attacking the center, bring out the pieces, which is the lesson that we have from Morphy's games. Okay, so knight bd2 was the move. Once more I tell you, in the Italian there are a lot of these maneuvers that are important, so this knight is important, that comes out. Unfortunately, Serafino Dubois made the mistake of fighting for the center without enough preparation. How did he continue? He takes d4, and now there is e5. So what Serafino Dubois is doing at this point is misunderstanding the position. What do I mean by misunderstanding? Yes, it's true, the enemy king is in the center, and this is a typical thing that we learn from Morphy's game. When the king is in the center, you suck. Couple of pawns, you open the lines, and you attack. But the king is just one move away from castling all the black pieces are developed, white pieces are not developed, they are not even in the center. So he is late to the party. Okay? However, that's the thing. Here, Steinitz could have gained a big advantage playing knight e4. Instead, he played d takes e5. Once more, check the book because there are some analyses that are maybe boring for some people, but interesting if you want to play the Italian game. Bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and queen f5. At this point, Serafino Dubois makes another mistake. That is, knight takes g4. And here I must tell you that the analysis is very, very interesting, because I honestly didn't think, I couldn't find the move that this guy wanted us to fire. He says, obviously this is another poor move, after which black remains a pawn to the good with much better development and continuing pressure on the king side and in the center. White had a much better try. What is it? What is that white should play here? Well, it seems that the move was queen a4. No? I honestly, didn't think of it. It makes sense, but I didn't think of it. And after this, there is this. Keeping the material and creating a real prospect for himself. I don't know. Let's see how does it continue. For example, it could continue like this, because again, at this point you want to attack this, right? Play h3. And it seems that the author analyzed this line with a computer, and obviously with a computer we find stuff that we generally don't see. It seems the position is difficult for both sides. As you can see, 1 century before they didn't see it. So let me return back to the position that it was, okay? Okay, so why should I play this? Instead, he played this knight takes g4, okay? To which, obviously, black opened a file, because he wants to give checkmate, right? So, obviously you take like this, because if you take in another way, it's not a good idea. Instead, here you are trying to open to give checkmate. Notice that once this move, also this is blocked, it's pinned, and so it's easier to give checkmate. Now, white played bishop d3, which is obviously not so good, but the black king is safe, so what is he doing? We don't know. Now, queen d5, b4, and castle. Can you imagine how important is castling? Why is important? Because if now you also take here, okay, there is this move, and the game is practically over, because then this goes here, and it will go here, so it's clearly an endgame for white. While, as you can see, in some moments you just need to attack. You cannot get afraid of losing some material. However, white played c4, because he also understood that was going to end badly. Queen c6, b takes c5, rook takes h4 for those that didn't believe that he would actually win. f3, trying to escape. You want to escape, right? Rook d, h8, f takes g4, and here it seems black made a mistake. He played queen e8. Instead, there is a better move that he could have played, but again, these kind of things are found because of the computer, okay? Just to make an example, after this white played queen e1. It seems that he had the chance to save everything with this move. However, I can tell you from the analysis, and let's see the analysis, because after all it's interesting also this part, right? Why this move is so good? Because it allows white to create a space. Queen c6, knight d2, and now if he plays rook h1 here, take, check, and what can he do? It can only give a perpetual check here, so black cannot win. That's a problem. Instead, in the game, you will see that white didn't find that resource, and he lost. Let me go back to the position. Okay, I think I put the position back in place. He played queen e1, that obviously is not saving because of queen e3. And now you can see that black has already a checkmate possibility. After queen takes e3, d takes e3 is taking away this escaping square, right? g3, rook h1, king g2, rook 8 here, king f3, check, bishop takes f1, rook f2, king takes e3, boom. Now, why this is important? I don't know if you understood. The problem here is that we are at move 28 and white never brought these two pieces in the game. Now this is pinned because otherwise you lose this, the endgame is lost, right? So white immediately tried to play this, but we are at move 29, a little late. King d7, king d3, he tries to go there, but it's not enough. Knight takes g4, king c3, knight e3, rook a2, rook takes b1, rook d2, king c6. As you can see, it's important to centralize the king in the endgame. Rook e2, rook c1, king d2, and rook c2. Now you must understand these people were really good in the endgame. I also saw Alekhine to do something similar. He had an advantage, but he converted to a simple pawn endgame, and immediately it's win, no? Because after this, boom. Why is this a win? Because or you say this or you say that, but this is going to give a pass pawn, if the king must stop it, it cannot stop the 3 pawns there, right? So the point is kind of simple. King e3, king takes e5, king d3. Oops. So which one of the two do you stop? You obviously try to stop there, no? Maybe like this, but everything goes down. And you cannot stop 3 pawns with a king. So I hope you enjoyed this second game from this book on Steinitz move by move. We will see other videos in other games in next videos. Thank you.